Since we have a Kagan Dragon Lord, I'm actually inclined to take the Prism, because the Prism can help us filter our Eldrazi spawn mana into pumping him up to ridiculously high levels. We also have Dread Drone, which helps us accelerate to our fatties, and then they have another Forked Bolt, which, I mean, it won't really help us through a memo or anything because it's only a sorcery, but removal is removal again. Another option, probably Spawning Breath. So we got cost. Snap pick the Forked Bolt. Warmonger's Chariot is the only card in this pack we might end up playing, so I think that's the pick here. Plus, it's pretty sick if we end up getting something like an Ogre Sentry, but I think Bloodrite Invoker is strong enough that, especially since we're starting to look like a bit of a ramp deck, that we can get some ridiculous value out of it. Since we've got two Eldrazi's that we're probably end up playing, we don't need that. None of the other cards we're going to play, so I just think we'll just take the rare that ends up actually hosing us a little bit. I don't think anyone could ever foresee themselves playing any of these cards. That said, Totem Armors can be annoying if they get out of hand. So I'll take that, send a bit more of a signal that we're in red now. Another instant for our Surreal Memoir. Perish of Thought might be a sideboard card in case we come up against another deck like ours, which has some sweet bombs at the end of it. So we'll see where pack 3 goes. Hopefully open a Gideon. Opening a Gideon would be sweet. Or even a Vendron. I think Vendron's worth more these days. I haven't been paying attention to the prices. See where we go. Sphinx Bone Wand, Stagger Shock, Vendetta. I think Sphinx Bone Wand will table. I mean, it's probably a legitimate win condition in a deck like ours. Zilla-Portent Force is going to be pretty terrible. We may end up even cutting blue altogether, judging by how the deck's coming together. Stagger Shock is the best card in my opinion. We're more heavily red than anything else. And because we know we're going to be playing red, but the other cards we're not certain on how much of them we're going to be playing. Passing a Vendetta is never fun, but still Stagger Shock is that good. So we have Narcolepsy, Induced Despair, Arrogant Bloodlord. It's actually, I think, again with two reasonably high cost guys. I don't think we've got enough removal that we're going to last long enough to actually get to that point. I think Induced Despair is probably going to be the stronger card over Narcolepsy, because Induced Despair will actually kill something, whereas Narcolepsy just keeps it tied down. And again, we're not sure whether or not we're going to be committing to a colour. I mean, although it's probably too late to be committing to a colour, but I think our black is a bit stronger than our blue on average. And then this sort of pick comes back and bites me on the ass. Mnemonic Wall. It's Mnemonic Wall versus Drake Umbra. I mean, I don't think we have enough guys that really makes Drake Umbra that insane, but we need to keep our minds open towards it and take the Mnemonic Wall, maybe playing 3 colours. I think the format is slow enough that we can do that, capitalise on everything. Sack and Crusher never hurt anyone. Doubt we'll play it, but you never know. Seagate Oracle helps us dig, maybe helps us fix mana. I think at this point, the Brimstone Mage just wrecks people. I mean, I know people say it's really slow and it's bad and all those sort of things, but when some days he just absolutely gets smashed by him. And I think our deck is slow enough, defensive enough that we can support, putting a bit of mana into him every turn. Just something to think about. I mean, Mnemonic Wall would still be sweet, but having a recurring sort of sorcery removal and another creature at that is still really, really good. Although I'm sure you guys in the comments will be berating me for doing so. More crap in this pack. Absolutely nothing here I could consider playing, even in our colours. Shrivels, a minor inconvenience. I already have plenty of that rare, which is just so bad. People keep saying it's like gift ungiven. I mean, yes it is, but at the same time, it's lands only, and there's no point in having it, especially in draft, since when are you going to have 4 unique lands? Oh, I'm sure having a Shrivel in the sideboard will be helpful. That is a late Nest Invader. That I particularly want to fuel the ramp deck, so I think I'm just going to take the Nest Invader. Sphinx Mode 1 is yet another win condition that we can legitimately play through a Memoir, Mnemonic Wall, Explosive Revelation, a whole bunch of instants and sorceries, so I think we may end up playing that. Which, you know, I mean, it's not terrible, but at the same time, it's not something that we were aiming to do when we started this draft. I don't particularly like the idea of their guys getting emerged unscathed while stacked white pack, especially this late. My guys don't like being defending. Oh crap! I'm surprised that Irresistible Praise gone so late. I mean, it is actually playable in the loosest sense of the word. Anyway, time to build our deck. Not particularly happy with it, but you know, you take what you can get. I mean, I would have liked to Kiln Fiend in here, but at the same time, there's really not much you can do. You can only sort of take them as they come. So let's start off with the cards we know we want to play. World at War could possibly see play in this deck. I mean, we like the idea of swinging with our Crushers and our Artisans of Kozilek's multiple times in a turn. Pretty sweet. I'm not going to play that. I'm going to play this. Invoker, Induce, Escape Null. 23. We still got the Chariot on the. We got the Chariot on the bench. The Crusher. I don't think we can support the Deprive with its double blue mana cost. I don't mean double blue for domestication is worth it, but double blue for Deprive maybe not. I mean, I think we have enough removal without that. Fleeting Distraction doesn't do enough in this deck. The Chariot does help some of my guys last a lot longer. It helps us get 2 of that magical 8-9 mana. I mean, I would have loved to have that Prism or whatever back, but what are you going to do? You should have taken it. Should have taken it when I could take it. Let's see, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instants for the Surreal Memoir. Sorcery for the Mnemonic Wall. So, I'm not sure how many lands I want to play in this deck. I mean, we have again another wonky curve, heavy on the 3s, heavy around the middle, with only a little bit at the top. That's the sort of downside of Sphinx Bone 1. By the time you get it on the table, you will have probably burned off all your removal in that, so what you've got is a pretty weak source of damage, which is why things like Mnemonic Wall, Surreal Memoir are actually pretty good in it. Really probably should have paid more attention to how I was drafting, because I mean, a lot it looks like is I'm playing a hodgepodge of colours and things like that. 8-5-5. Probably a reasonable enough assumption, but I'm not a fan of that. I think probably 18 lands here is the play, considering how heavy my top curve is. I want to be able to make sure I actually get there. I don't actually have high hopes for this deck, but you never know. That said, let's go back. Definitely want more black than blue. I think that's fine. Play 18 lands, submit, and off we go.